Question for person B. Person B, if you're incredibly bored with person A and whatever the hell they're talking about, say aye. Person A, if you're bored with yourself, say aye. Oh, good. Then I want you to change out of that state completely. Now, here's what we're going to do different. This time, person A, I'm going to ask you to turn back to person B and talk about the same thing. Persuade them to do this, be involved in this, get excited about this, whatever it is. But I want you to do it with more passion, more certainty than anything you've done in your life. So to help you get there, first of all, I want you to try something. Shake your body out. Stand tall. Breathe deep. And I want you to try something. I want you to shout just the word yes, nice and loud, and enjoy saying it. Go. Yes. Say it again. Yes. Louder. Yes. Stronger. Yes. Louder. Yes. Stronger. Yes. Enjoy it. Yes. Even stronger. Yes. Feel what that feels like. Now, notice how that feels in your body just to say the word yes strongly. Now say the word no, and notice it comes from a different place in your body and it feels different. Say no. No. Say it again. No. No's like burping. Say yes. Yes. Say yes. Yes. Say yes. Yes. Now, with all the energy you get, turn back to that person with total certainty and tell them, and B, notice what they do different with their face and their body. Go, go, go. B, if you like that presentation better, say yes. Yes. A, if you like yourself better, say yes. Yes. Okay, B, I'm going to give 1 minute to person B. B, I'm going to have you take 1 minute and tell person A, what did they do different with their head, their face, their shoulders, their body? Did they lean into you or lean back? What was different in their voice? What did they do different when they're not sure versus they were certain? And I want you to be specific. I don't want you to say, well, I notice when you get certain, you get excited. I want you to be specific and say, I notice when you were more certain, when you're passionate, you leaned into me. I notice when you're dispassionate, you lean back. I notice when you're excited, you made this gesture. You're not so excited, you made this gesture. You did this with your voice when you're really excited, this when you weren't. And person A, listen, because B is about to teach you the buttons to your own brain. What you do when you're most certain and passionate versus what you do when you're not so sure. If you know what they do, you can trigger it at will. So B, you got 1 minute. Tell them what they did differently. Go. Now, I want you to notice that there's a pattern here between what you do when you're not sure and kind of uncertain versus when you're most passionate. So notice, how many of you found that when the person was most passionate, they leaned into you? How many found that to be true? Raise your hand, say aye. How many found when they're dispassionate, they were either one side or the other or even back? How many found this to be true? Say aye. Did they talk more rapidly or more slowly when they're passionate? Which one? Rapidly. Louder or quieter? But also, they did very specific things. Some of them made a certain gesture when they were really certain, and they're not, they did this gesture. Or they opened their eyes more when they were really certain. When they weren't, they didn't do that. Whatever you do, person A, B just told you your triggers. That means it's like having a button. If you're feeling tired or bored, but let's say I discover that when I'm most passionate, I lean in, I make this certain gesture, or I make this gesture, and I talk more rapidly. Let's say I'm feeling tired or bored or frustrated, and I need to change my state. You know, I'm feeling kind of lazy. What do? Well, if I know it, I lean forward, go, this is what we're going to do. And the minute you do that, it's not like a pump up. It literally changes your biochemistry. You physiologically change into that state. So I want you to remember, out of all the things they told you, person A, that you do, B told you a bunch of things you do. Think of 2 or 3 of the things they told you you do, that it would feel good to make that same gesture if you were to do it. You know it would feel good. Or it'd feel good to just lean into it. Or it'd feel good to use your voice like that, or to look them in the eye. Think of 2 or 3 that you know if you really did it, it would change your state. How many can think of at least 2, if not 3, that you know would feel good to do and it would change your state? Raise your hand if you got 2 or 3 right now that you know from you learn. Say aye. Great, then here's what I want you to do. I want you to now turn back to that person. And I want you to talk about anything with that same intensity right now, but do those same 2 or 3 things over and over again. Ready? Go, go, go. Come on, come on, come on. Whoa! Yes! Shake your body out, shake it out. All right, here's what we're gonna do. Real quick, we're gonna switch. This time B is gonna start out trying to convince you to do something, but they don't really believe it, they're not really sure. So they're gonna say, you're gonna really love making love to me, it's gonna be the greatest experience of your life. Okay? But here's the difference. This time, A, you're going to watch what they do when they're not sure with their face, their head, their shoulders, their gestures, their voice, their breath. But the difference is, at some point in the middle of this, I'm going to say, switch, switch, switch. And when I say switch, person B is going to go from not sure to absolutely certain with more intensity than they've ever had. And I want you to see what they do differently. Okay? Person B, go ahead. Start out not sure. Go ahead. Okay, switch into high gear. Totally certain, totally passionate. Go. Come on, intensify. The person who was doing the speaking, you just had feedback, right? Your partner told you what you do when you're most certain, most passionate, versus when you're unsure, not what to do. Think of 2 or 3 things they told you that you know if you made that same gesture, if you made that same look, if you spoke with that same tone of voice, it feels strong. You know it feels good to do it. Pick 2 or 3 that you know it'd be fun to do, it'd feel good to do in your body, out of all the things they told you. How many can think of 2 or 3 of what they told you would feel good to do? Raise your hand if you got them. Say I. Now I want you to remember those, and here's what we're going to do. Put yourself in a group of 5 people, 4 or 5, real quick. Group of 4 or 5. Go, go, go. Quickly. Make sure there's a man or a woman in your group. Not all women, not all men. Trade somebody out if you're all men or all women. Get somebody else in there. Grab somebody. Get aggressive. All right. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a simple exercise. I want you to notice. Here's what we're going to do. In a moment, all of you right now, silently, not speaking out loud, silently, I want you to think of a subject that to you is incredibly boring or stupid or kind of like a non-subject. Don't say it, just think of one. So maybe it's something like milk. There's a very powerful subject. And now what you're going to do in a moment is I'm going to have you speak passionately about that subject to these 3 other people or 4 other people. But the way you're going to do it is as you speak about the subject, you're going to make that same gesture you make when you're most passionate, that same movement, that same look, that same tone of voice. So it might be something like this. If I was in the group, I might go, milk! Do you understand how important milk is to your life? It has calcium. Do you know what that means to you? And you're going to do your 3 tools over and over again with more intensity. Now you might say, well, Tony, who's listening and who's talking? That's the best part. All of you are doing this simultaneously, talking to each other, trying to use your 3 skills to get more and more passionate as you talk about the subject simultaneously. Ready? Use everything you got. Set, go!
Stop the rock. Stop the rock. Stop the rock. Stop.